Hello, in the second part of our video we're going to have a look at attaching the pressure line between the slave cylinder at the bottom and the master cylinder at the top. We have two options when it comes to the pressure line. We have two different lengths of carbon line available and a long plastic line which can be shortened to the desired length. In addition then we require a banjo bolt with a bleeder, which is then the attachment between the M6 ring and the slave cylinder. So I'll show you that here in 1 second. As you can see, we've attached the banjo with the bleed nipple and two new gasket washers onto the slave cylinder, and we now tighten the banjo into position. Very gently, all we need to do is tighten down onto the two gasket washers. We don't need to use any force here. That is now tight and oil tight. I have removed the clutch lever on the bike and installed a MAGURA 167 clutch master cylinder. I then remove the plastic protector from the bottom and install the end of the line. And that's our pressure line mounted. With the plastic pressure line, I've now installed the pressure line. I've cut it to the exact length that I require. That can be done with a sharp knife or a cigar cutter or something similar. I now have 4 parts left for the pressure line. The first is a cover, is inserted onto the line. The next is the securer. The next is our gasket, and finally we have, for the reinforced line, a grommet. I push the grommet into position. I then bring our seal element right to the front of the line, insert it here and tighten it into position. This gasket will tighten down onto both sides of the line. So that is our build, and at the very end I put the protector over the line. I'm going to place the pressure line in until it can no longer go any further. Then I tighten the securing nut, and I can feel exactly the point where the gasket has deformed and formed a seal, and finally I put the protective cover onto the end of the line, and we're finished with our pressure line installation. We finished with the assembly of our pressure line. Two things that are important with the pressure line. One is the radius. The line should not be bent. A radius of about 25-30 millimeters is optimal for the carbon and for the plastic line. It's also important to ensure that the line is kept away from particularly hot heat sources. 3 centimeters away from the exhaust, for example, is our recommended setting, and just to ensure that it's not sitting directly on top of anything that's extremely hot. In this classic situation, I now have a pressure line which is pointing in the wrong direction. The system, however, is filled and fully operational. I want to adjust the angle that the line exits the slave cylinder, and in order to do that, I can twist a quarter twist or less. Move the hose. I lose 2 or 3 drops of fluid while I'm doing that. Dry it off. The system is still fully operational. If I need to see is there air in the system or not, then I simply remove the slave cylinder from below, activate until the piston is fully withdrawn, and in that position I can see here that I have no more than 1 centimeter of lever travel, which means that the system is still fully operational, bled, etc.